It's time to follow the Data Explorer's motto of visualize, visualize, visualize. So let's create another section. I'm going to write here a title called Create a Function to Display Random Images. And sure, we've had a look at the different attributes of our custom data set. We see that it gives back a list of different class names. We see that the lengths are similar to the original, but there's nothing quite like visualizing some data. So let's go in here. We're going to write a function, a helper function. So step number one, we need to take in a data set. So one of the data sets that we just created, whether it be trained data custom or trained data, and a number of other parameters, such as class names and how many images to visualize. And then step number two is to prevent the display getting out of hand. Let's cap the number of images to see at 10, because look, if our data set is going to be thousands of images and we want to put in a number of images to look at, let's just make sure the maximum is 10. That should be enough. So we'll set the random seed for reproducibility. Number four is let's get a list of random samples. So we want random sample indexes. I'll just get rid of this S. From, what do we want it from? From the target data set. So we want to take in a data set and we want to cap the number of images we're seeing. We want to set a random seed. And do you see how much I use randomness here to really get an understanding of our data? I really, really, really love harnessing the power of randomness. So we want to get a random sample of indexes from all of our data set. And then we're going to set up a matplotlib plot. Then we want to loop through the random sample images and plot them with matplotlib. And then as a side to this one, step 7 is we need to make sure the dimensions of our images line up with matplotlib. So matplotlib needs height, width, color channels. All right, let's take it on, hey? So number one is create a function to take in a data set. So we're going to call this def, let's call it def display random images, going to be one of our helper functions. We've created a few type of functions like this, but let's take in a data set which is torch utils of type, that is, of type data set. Then we're going to take in classes, which is going to be a list of different strings. So this is going to be our class names for whichever data set we're using. I'm going to set this equal to none. And then we're going to take in n, which is the number of images we'd like to plot. And I'm going to set this to 10 by default, so we can see 10 images at a time, 10 random images that is. Do we want to display the shape? Let's set that equal to true so that we can display what the shape of the image is, because we're passing it through our transform as it goes into a data set. So we want to see what the shape of our images are just to make sure that that's okay. And we can also, let's set up a seed, which is going to be an integer, and we'll set that to none to begin with as well. Okay, so step number 2, what do we have above? We have, to prevent the display getting out of hand, let's cap the number of images to see at 10. So we've got n, is by default, it's going to be 10, but let's just make sure that it stays there. Adjust display if n is too high. So if n is greater than 10, let's just readjust this. Let's set n equal to 10 and display shape. We'll turn off the display shape because if we have 10 images, our display may get out of hand. So just print out here. For display purposes, n shouldn't be larger than 10, setting to 10 and removing shape display. Now I only know this because I've had experience cooking this dish before. In other words, I've written this type of code before. So you can customize. The beautiful thing about Python and PyTorch is you can customize these display functions in any way you see fit. So step number 3, what are we doing? Set the random seed for reproducibility. Okay, set the seed. So if seed, let's set random.seed equal to that seed value, and then we can keep going. So number 4 is let's get some random sample indexes. So we can do that by going get random sample indexes, which is step number 4 here. So we've got a target data set that we want to inspect, and we want to get some random samples from that. So let's create a random samples IDX list, and I'm going to randomly sample from a length of our data set, or sorry, a range of the length of our data set. And I'll show you what this means in a second. And the K, oh, excuse me. Have we got enough brackets there? I always get confused with the brackets. The K is going to be N. So in this case, I want to randomly sample 10 images from the length of our data set, or 10 indexes. So let's just have a look at what this looks like. We'll put in here our train data custom here. So this is going to take a range of the length of our train data custom, which is what? 225. We looked at that before, just up here. Length of this. So between 0 and 255, we're going to get 10 indexes if we've done this correctly. Beautiful. So there's 10 random samples from our train data custom, or 10 random indexes, that is. So we're up to step number 5, which was loop through the random sample images, or indexes. Let's create this to indexes, and plot them with matplotlib. So this is going to give us a list here. So let's go loop through random indexes and plot them with matplotlib. Beautiful. So for I targ sample in enumerate, let's enumerate through the random samples IDX list, and then we're going to go targ image and targ label, because all of the samples in our target data set are in the form of tuples. So we're going to get the target image and the target label, which is going to be dataset targ sample. We'll take the index, so it might be one of these values here. We'll index on that, and the 0th index will be the image, and then we'll go on the data set as well. We'll take the targ sample index, and then the index number 1 will be the label of our target sample. And then number 7, oh, excuse me, we've missed a step. That should be number 6. Did you catch that? Number 5 is setup plot. So we can do this quite easily by going plot figure. This is so that each time we iterate through another sample, we're going to have quite a big figure here. So we set up the plot outside the loop so that we can add a plot to this original plot here. And now this is number 7, where we make sure the dimensions of our images line up with matplotlib. So if we recall, by default, PyTorch is going to turn our image dimensions into what? Color channels first. However, matplotlib prefers color channels last. So let's go adjust tensor dimensions for plotting. So let's go targ image, let's call this targ image adjust equals targ image dot permute, and we're going to alter the order of the indexes. So this is going to go from color channels, or the dimensions that is, height, width, and we're going to change this width, if I could spell, to height, width, color channels. Beautiful. That one will probably catch you off guard a fair few times, but we've seen it a couple of times now, so I'm going to keep going with this. Plot adjusted samples. So now we can add a subplot to our matplotlib plot, and we want to create, we want one row of n images. This will make a lot more sense once we visualize it. And then for the index, we're going to keep track of I plus 1. So let's keep going. So then we're going to go plot im show, and I'm going to go targ image adjust. So I'm going to plot this image here, and then let's turn off the axis. And we can go if the classes variable exists, which is up here, a list of classes, let's adjust the title of the plot to be the particular index in the class list. So title equals f class, and then we're going to put in here classes, and we're going to index on that with the targ label index, which is going to come from here. because that's going to be in numerical format. And then if display shape, let's set the title equal to title plus F. We're going to go new line, shape. This is going to be the shape of the image. Tag image adjust dot shape. And then we'll set the title to plt dot title. So you see how if we have display shape, we're just adjusting the title variable that we created here, and then we're putting the title onto the plot. So let's see how this goes. That is quite a beautiful function. Let's pass in one of our data sets and see what it looks like. Let's plot some random images. So which one should we start with first? So let's display random images from the image folder created dataset. So this is the inbuilt PyTorch image folder. Let's go display random images, the function we just created above. We're going to pass in the train data, and then we can pass in the number of images. Let's have a look at 5. And the classes is going to be the class names, which is just a list of our different class names. And then we can set the seed. We want it to be random, so we just set the seed to equal none. Oh, doesn't that look good? So this is from our original train data made with image folder. So option number 1 up here. Option 1, there we go. And we've passed in the class name. So this is sushi, resized to 6464.3. Same with all of the others, but from different classes. Let's set the seed to 42, see what happens. I get these images. We got a sushi, we got a pizza, we got pizza, sushi, pizza. And then if we try a different one, we just go none. We get random images again. Wonderful. Now let's write the same code, but this time using our train data custom data set. So display random images from the image folder custom data set. So this is the one that we created. Display random images. I'm going to pass in train data custom, our own data set. Oh, this is exciting. Let's set n equal to 10 and just see how far we can go with our plot. Or maybe we set it to 20 and just see if our code for adjusting the plot makes sense. Class names and seed equals, I'm going to put in 42 this time. There we go. For display purposes, n shouldn't be larger than 10, setting to 10 and removing shape display. So we have a steak image, a pizza image, pizza, steak, pizza, 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 steak, pizza. If we turn off the random seed, we should get another 10 random images here. Beautiful, look at that. Steak, steak, sushi, pizza, steak, sushi, class. I'm reading out the different things here. Pizza, 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 pizza. Okay, so it looks like our custom data set is working from both a qualitative standpoint, looking at the different images, and a quantitative. How about we change it to 5 and see what it looks like? Do we have a different shape? Yes, we do. The same shape as above. Wonderful. Okay, so we've got train data custom, and we've got train data which is made from image folder, but the premises remain. We've built up a lot of different ideas, and we're looking at things from different points of view. We are getting our data from the folder structure here into tensor format. So there's still one more step that we have to do, and that's go from dataset to data loader. So in the next video, let's see how we can turn our custom loaded images, train data custom and test data custom, into data loaders. So you might want to go ahead and give that a try yourself. We've done it before up here. Turn loaded images into data loaders. We're going to replicate the same thing as we did in here for our option number 2, except this time we'll be using our custom data set. I'll see you in the next video.